by the end of this vlog, I will be done with all of the proofreading. I write the story that I want to read. The proofread read-through is done. Reading and editing, like writing, all of these things are a subjective experience. So 8 books in 5 years. One of the best tips, honestly, for doing any kind of editing work. The book interior is now done. Hello and welcome to a new vlog. Welcome if you're new here. Hi, I'm Andrea. Welcome back if you're one of my lovely returning friends. It is great to have you all here. If you are new here, as I said, I'm Andrea. I'm a full-time writing instructor and a part-time content creator and indie author with 7 books published so far, and my 8th one is coming very, very soon. And it is that book that is going to be the focus of this vlog. So this is going to be a finally finishing the proofreading vlog. It's going to be a multi-day vlog, but basically I am nearly done with the proofread read-through of the proofreading process, and then I have to go back and make all the corrections. The read-through is what takes the longest. I think making the connections will take 1 to 3 days. I'm hoping 1 to 2, but it could take as many as 3, but I'm really going to try to do it in 2 or less, like 1 or 2 days. So where we're at with the proofreading since the last time I spoke to you all in a vlog. I've got my tracker here. I have gotten through chapter 19. So that means we've got 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, the epilogue, and the back matter. So essentially 7 chapters-ish. Some of these last few chapters are shorter, so they're gonna go faster. And I didn't want to miss out on vlogging finishing proofreading, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen today because I'm getting a much later start on proofreading, and it'll probably happen tomorrow. But then if I vlog tomorrow, I probably wouldn't vlog the days that I'm working on making the corrections, and I want to be able to vlog like when I actually finish proofreading. So yeah, I figured let's just do a multi-day, completely focused on proofreading type vlog. So that's really all this is going to be. And yeah, we're gonna get the proofreading done. So I think between today and tomorrow, I will finish reading through everything, and then Monday I might not be able to do any book work, but then I think Tuesday and Wednesday I can carve out time from my full-time job schedule and do the corrections, which is why I'm trying to do them. I feel like if I can do them in 2 days and just completely finish proofreading by Wednesday, then Thursday I can go teach, and then Friday I can shift back to working on the cover, which it's wild to think. I feel like we just started proofreading, and so I won't lie, it's kind of wild to think that I'm already this close to being done to proofreading and being able to switch back to the cover design, which will be the last thing to do. So yeah, we're getting ever closer to this book being done, and I honestly at this point I'm just getting so excited for that. I'm ready for it to be done. I'm ready to upload it. I'm ready to publish it. I'm so ready to start to get back to writing the next book I want to put out. I'm also reminding myself that even though I'm more behind on this than I had wanted to be, like I'd wanted this book to come out like 3 months ago, it still hasn't been a full year since my last book launch. It's been over a year since the last launch in this series. It's been well over a year since the last launch in this series, because I've done 2 Independent Hearts books since there's been a new Across the Pond book. So yeah, but I'm sticking with at least 1 book a year, and they've been about a year apart. And if I can get this one out sometime in October like I want to, that will still be about a month before, like a month before the 1 year anniversary of Candle Shop coming out. So it's all good. It's all fine. So yeah, I've just been having a super relaxing Saturday. Went for another sunrise walk this morning. I've been doing some chores around the apartment and stuff like that, but I really want to get the proofread read through done this weekend. And what is left of the read through is too much to read in one day. Like, I could probably read it in one day, but I don't know that I'd be able to maintain focus. So I want to get some stuff read. So I think I'm going to try to read 20, 21, and 22 today. Those are shorter chapters, and then that would leave 23 and 24 and the epilogue and the back matter, which the back matter won't take long. The epilogue was not that long. I think the epilogue was like 2,500 words. It should all be good. Gonna make some good progress. I'm gonna take my little headband. You've probably seen this in the vlogs. When I proofread, I slip this around my iPad so that I only see 1 line at a time as I'm proofreading. It just helps me stay focused on 1 line at a time and not let my eyes start scanning down the rest of the paragraph and then possibly missing something. So I'm gonna take this over to the couch and get nice and cozy, and yeah, get 3 chapters proofread and get myself little more, around halfway through what is left of the read through, so that tomorrow I can finish the read through. And yeah, by the end of this vlog, I will be done with all of the proofreading. That's still a few days for me, but it's just about 45 minutes or so for all of you. So it takes a lot longer in real time. But yeah, we are almost done, and that is a very exciting thing. Okay, 3 more chapters done, and now just 2 chapters, the epilogue and the back matter. Ah, I can't believe it. Like, I feel like I've been saying we're getting close for so long, but it's finally starting to feel real now for me that, like, no, it really is getting close. But yeah, it went well. I've read this manuscript I don't know how many times now, because I've started and stopped and started and stopped, and you know, I feel like it was ages ago that I did the first Scrivener read through of the very first draft, and then I put it on pause for a while, so then I had to read it again before I started editing, and then there were like 2 different developmental edit passes, and then copy editing and line editing, and now proofreading. So I feel like I've read it a lot, but I still love it. And these last few chapters, they're just, I feel like, you know, obviously I'm biased because I wrote it, and we write the stories that we want to read ourselves. So like, I don't ever expect anyone to love my books more than I love them. because I'm writing them. So I'm writing exactly the story that I want to read. So it's like, I was thinking this the other day, like there's authors whose writing voice I really, really love, but I think the author whose voice I love the most is my own. Maybe that's arrogant of me to say, I don't know, but it's just like the advice really is write the story that you want to read, and that's exactly what I do every single time. I write the story that I want to read. Even in the case of More Than Fate, which I co-wrote with my friend Tamsin, there was a lot that we plotted and worked out together about the story, but then we each were telling our own stories within that novel. And Isla's story in that book, my character was Isla Stewart, and Isla's story was the story that I wanted to tell within the parameters of the larger plot that we were doing. So, her relationship and romance with Henry, one of the main male characters in the book, I told their version of the story that I wanted to read. So I do always love reading my books, but I don't want to say there's some that I love more than others, because that doesn't sound right, but there are some that it's just, there's something magic, like extra magical about them. I'd say The Bookshop of Possibilities is a really good example of that, and Candle Shop as well. And the second of the Across the Pond books, Brave With You, there was something, like, all the books are special, all the books are magical, but those few, just there was an extra something that just lined up in terms of the stories and the plots and the characters that I was writing, and it just felt easier with those books. I think that's the thing. They're all special, but some of them come easier to me. And this book is another similar case where it just feels like it came so much easier, and I knew very early on in the outlining process exactly the story I wanted to tell. And so writing it went pretty smooth. The first draft was really strong. There was minimal structural stuff that needed to be fixed. And I feel like that's been the case with some of those other books as well, that the story came to me so clearly in the beginning that there was just very little structural stuff that needed to be done. And so it just makes the process feel different. But I love this story, and I know I say that, and it probably sounds like I'm trying to talk it up and hype it up, and I'm not. I really just want to get this out so you all can read it. And some of you might disagree. You might think that one of my other books is more your favorite or whatever, and that's fine. But because it's not about favorites. It's not that this is my favorite. It's just there has been something special about this, and I feel so good about this story. Of all the things I worry about with publishing a book, whether this story is good enough is not one of the things I'm worried about with this one. So yeah, chapter 20 through 22, I just feel like this last quarter of the book, the pacing of the book overall I think is really good, but the pacing of this last quarter is really good. It's really tight. There are some longer chapters in the middle part of the book, but towards this last quarter, the chapters are just really tight. They're really focused. Yeah, I really could truly lay on the couch and just read the rest of the novel in one sitting. If this was a Scrivener read through or a Kindle read through pass, I would just finish it today. But with proofreading, I don't want to rush it. So I will finish it tomorrow because it is nearly 5 o'clock. So I do need to go relax and just let myself start winding down for the night, because it's been a busy day. I've been doing lots of little things. So, but I got this done, and the read through is going to be done tomorrow. And I think the rest of proofreading is going to be done by the 11th, and I was aiming to be finished the 8th, which is tomorrow, was my ideal day, and then the 16th was my realistic deadline. And so if I can finish on the 11th, that'll be somewhere between those 2 days, which would just be incredible. It's nice to feel like, after feeling like I was constantly just getting further and further and further and further behind, it's nice to feel like things are picking up speed again. And with as quickly as proofreading has gone and as good as this has felt, I do think that is going to help psychologically once this is done and I switch back to doing the cover. So yeah, that's all good. So I'm gonna stop proofreading for now. I'm gonna relax for the rest of the evening. Season, is it 6? Is it 7? I don't know what number we're up to, but the newest season of Selling Sunset has dropped on Netflix. So I might have to go watch that, start watching that. I will check in with you all tomorrow once I have finished the proofreading. I probably won't talk to you until after I have finished the proofreading, so that'll be exciting. So keep watching. Okay. The proofreading, well, the read through of the proofreading is officially done. I'm so happy. Like, it really does feel like significant progress being checked off. That is very, 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 very exciting. Oh, I'm so tired. Yeah, so the proofread read through is done. So what's next is going back through my marked up annotated PDF and going page by page with the PDF open on my iPad and the manuscript open in vellum on my computer, and just kind of scrolling through, finding the corrections that need to be made based on what I've annotated in the PDF, finding those corrections in the vellum file, making the corrections and moving on to the next one. So I made a separate correction tracker, so this will now be, so this column is all checked off. This now will be the next column that I work my way down. I created that as a separate column just because it probably is going to take me more than one day to do it, and I want to be able to check off each chapter one by one as I do it, even though I'll probably get like half the chapters crossed off in one session and then the other half in another. It could take me as many as 3 days, but I don't, so as I am filming this, it is Sunday, September 8th. I don't think I'm going to be able to do any proofreading tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to be over at my parents' house. I'm not going to have my external monitor, I'm not going to have my normal setup, but Tuesday and Wednesday I can make time before work and after work to get some proofreading corrections made. And if I have to finish it, I know I won't get any work done on Thursday either, so I could finish on Friday, but I'm going to try to finish it on Tuesday and Wednesday so that Thursday I can just kind of take off from book work, and then Friday I will start a new vlog. Probably Friday I then would start working on the cover design. So this vlog will end once the proofreading is completely done. All the book interior stuff is done. I've read through the back matter. The back matter looks good. There's a couple things I know I want to add into the author's note, but everything else looked good, looked correct. I'm happy with the acknowledgements. I'm happy with the author bio, the book promos at the back of the book. I've got little, like, basically it's the back of the book description for all my other books, and then in like the Kindle version, those will then have links to buy those books. So all the back matter looks good. There's a couple things I want to add to the author's note, and a couple corrections I found that needed to be made in the author's note, and I think in the acknowledgements there was a mistake. So minor things to fix there, but yeah, the last couple chapters, just as satisfying as always. Really enjoyed reading them, and the epilogue. This time, I don't know, it felt a little bittersweet to end, because this will probably be the last time I read it as part of the pre-publishing editing process. The next time I read this book will be if I read it after it's published. And I have done that with my other books. I have gone back and reread my first 6 books. I was still working on Candle Shop of Wicks and Whimsy, so I have not reread that one. I usually try to give it at least at least a year, if not more, before I read something after I've published it. But as I was saying earlier in this vlog, I truly do write the stories that I want to read, and when I really like a book, I do read it more than once. And I know some authors say that they do not go back and reread their books after they're published, and I personally would never do that within probably the first year of it being out. I think when it's still too new, there's then it's too easy for you to then be like, oh, I should have done this or that, I should have changed this, I shouldn't have done that. But like now, especially with things like A Brave Start and Brave With You, there's been so much time. I mean, not that much time, because I haven't really been publishing for that long, but like A Brave Start was the first book I published, and I can definitely see things that I would do differently if I was writing that story now. But I also am just so proud of myself for the story that I wrote, and for having the courage to publish it when I did. I think it's so easy when you haven't yet published and when you're first starting out to edit a book into oblivion, to feel like you have to just keep editing it until it's perfect. And it's never going to be perfect, because you're never going to be a perfect writer. I'm not a perfect writer. Nothing I write is ever perfect. It's just like time for that project to end so that I can move on to the next one. But if I waited until I felt like a book was perfect to publish it, none of my books would be published. So I will absolutely tell you, and I will agree with anyone who says, yeah, her books aren't perfect. They're not. I'm not trying to make them be, though. So I'm just trying to tell the best story that I can at the time that I'm writing and editing and publishing it. I don't know, reading through this one and reading all the different drafts that I've read of this one, and now like finishing what will most likely be the last like full read through before this book is published. Finishing this one, like I can tell how far my writing has come. I'm still not the best writer. I'm still not a perfect writer. I could write until I'm 90 and still not be a perfect writer, because the perfect writer doesn't exist. Even my most favorite authors who I love and adore, I will not tell you that they are perfect authors who write perfect stories. It does not exist. We are all out here just telling stories that our brains and our hearts want us to tell, and we're doing that in the best way we possibly can. But even when you have a traditionally published book with a big fancy editor and a big fancy publishing house, like, your editor is still human, and their advice is going to be subjective. The editing advice I give to my editing clients, like, I am just helping you write the story that you want to write, but it's your story, And reading and editing, like writing, all of these things are a subjective experience. And what I think of as a good story is going to be different from what you think of as a good story, and that's going to be different from someone else thinks is a good story. And just look at any of your favorite books and you will find that those books still have 1-star reviews because someone didn't like them. You know, sometimes there's no accounting for taste. But it's because no one book is going to be beloved by everyone. Even some of the most beloved books in history are not beloved by everyone. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but like, I can tell how far my writing has come, and I can tell that I'm growing and I'm evolving as a writer, and that's just really exciting. And it's making me feel excited to get back to writing and working on the next book, which will be switching back to the Independent Heart series, and hopefully that will come out next year. But yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a very good day, and I'm really happy with the progress that I've made. And the next step on Tuesday will be to start making these corrections and getting the book interior completely done. Okay, it is, I think, the second to last day of proofreading. So as you can see from my checklist, I've made it pretty far down in the corrections. I could probably finish it today, but I have other stuff that I have to do, and I had allotted 2, possibly 3 days. Like I could take as long as I wanted to do this, but I could take until Friday if I really wanted. I can't do anything on Thursday because Thursday is a teaching day, but I still have tomorrow, so it's Tuesday right now. So I have managed to get the corrections made for chapters 1 through 18. So I had just been setting a timer to kind of work for about an hour. I've now got to switch back to other stuff. So I don't have all day to work on this, but it is showing me that if I was doing this like on a weekend and could take like 3 hours, I could do it all in one sitting. So I've got 19 through the epilogue left to do, plus the back matter needs those corrections made. And as I'm going through all the corrections, I'm copying over notes that I'd scribbled in the margins of things I want to discuss in the... brain is buffering again. In the author's note. So I've now got a bullet point list at the end of my current author's notes of a few additional things I want to add in there. So I feel good that I managed to get more than halfway through making the corrections, because I think tomorrow I can speed through the last few chapters and the back matter and still have time to make those few last additions to the author's note, and then that should finish up the book interior, which is just wild to think about. So yeah, that's exciting. That's actually really exciting. So I will be very glad to get that done tomorrow. But it's gone well today. Everything's going smoothly in vellum. Honestly, the hardest part of making the corrections is just finding the section that I need, like finding the line of text I'm actually needing to edit in the long scroll of vellum. So the way that vellum is set up, I can't show you this without showing you everything, but in vellum you have two window panes essentially. One that is a preview of what your formatted book looks like. You can't click into that, but you can see the changes pop up as you add something or delete something. And so that window, that pane, looks like what I'm marking up in my iPad. It's got the page numbers, it's got all the formatting, all of that stuff. The main editing pane is just one long scroll of text for the whole chapter. You can see your scene breaks and your ornamental breaks, but there's no pages. It's just one long scroll. So if I'm 7 pages into a chapter, I've got to scroll quite a ways in the actual editing pane just to find the line of text I need to change or edit or fix or whatever. And so that's honestly what takes me the longest, because in my iPad, I know exactly what page of the formatted manuscript the error is on, or the correction that needs to be made. I know exactly what page in the manuscript it's on. In terms of finding it to actually edit it, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So that's what takes me so long, because if I could just tab to page 242, there's this change. To page 244, there's this change. That would be so much faster and easier. I wish there was a way that I could click into the preview pane and not make the edits there, but just wherever I insert the cursor, have it jump to that spot in the actual editing pane. That would make this process so much faster. I'm sure some people proofread in vellum in the editing pane, but I have learned when it comes to proofreading, I cannot proofread on a computer screen. I honestly, like, I do like my iPad method. So the way I always proofread is I pop everything into vellum, get some rough formatting in place, make sure all the chapters are divided up correctly and things like that. And then I will generate a print copy, essentially. I'll generate a PDF of what the print copy will look like, and I pop that on my iPad. And then with my Apple Pencil, and this would work on any tablet with a stylus, so it doesn't have to be iPad, but I use the app iAnnotate. It looks like this. It's this one right here. So I use the app iAnnotate. It lets you draw, highlight, underline, strike through, put comments, all kinds of things. And so I will annotate that PDF as if it was, and it's one of the reasons why I bought this iPad. So this is a couple years old, a few years old now, I think. How many books have I done this process with? I think maybe it was around the time of Brave Together. I don't think I did bookshop on this. I might have done bookshop on this. Definitely the last few books. I got this because it is roughly, it is a little bit smaller than the size of a computer paper, right? So like old school me would have printed out my whole manuscript on printer paper and edited it that way, because I like physically marking up my documents. Printing it out is expensive, one, because it uses up a lot of paper and a lot of ink to print out a whole manuscript. Even if you're printing it out, I think even if I printed it out landscape with double-sided printing, and I'm not that good with my printer, so I'd have to take it in somewhere and have them print it out, and then that's expensive too. I think I looked it up once and it was gonna cost like $50 for somewhere like Office Max. to print it. If I've misjudged that, if I was looking at the wrong thing, and if you're watching this going, oh no, I've totally printed off 500 pages at Office Max for like 10 bucks. If I've got it wrong, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure when I looked up having someone else print it off for me, it was going to be really expensive. And then I also have the issue of storage. I write books too fast. You know, this is my 8th one in 5 years, almost 5 years. A Brave Start is going to be 5 this Christmas, y'all. Like, I don't even know what to think about that. So 8 books in 5 years, that's slightly less than 2 books a year, so I'm not quite 2 books a year on average. I've had a couple years now where I've only done 1 book a year, but then there was 1 year where I did 2 books in a year, so yeah. Anyway, I write a lot of books, and if I had huge printouts of each of them, like I have my very, very, very first novel that I ever wrote, which has not yet been published. That's Project Darkness. The first version of the first draft of Project Darkness is on this shelf back here. It's kind of tucked around the side, and it's in a 2.5 inch, 3 inch 3-ring binder. If I had 8 of those, I don't know where I would store them, and I just don't think I could bear to shred that. Like, I wouldn't just throw it in the recycle bin, because then anyone could dig it out, but I wouldn't want to shred it either. Like, both of those options just feel so wrong. So then it's, where do I store it? So switching to doing a digital proofread, but doing it on my iPad with the Apple Pencil, annotating it as if it was a physical piece of paper, that's kind of the process that I've developed, and it works really well. So I wouldn't want to proofread it in vellum, because I've been looking at this book on a screen for this entire time, other than when I've done Kindle read-throughs and stuff in between draft stages. So looking at it on the screen, I don't see things. I glaze over, basically. So one of the best tips, honestly, for doing any kind of editing work, whether it's earlier stage editing or end stage proofreading, to get your brain to see it differently, switch it to a different format. If you've been doing everything digitally, print it out on paper or put it on a tablet and like treat it like it's a piece of paper. Mark it up with a pen, with your stylus, or a pen on paper, instead of doing all the edits digitally in a word processing program. Change the font size, change the font style, just make it look different. So that's one of the tips I've always used and that I give a lot to my students and to my clients for editing. So there's no way I would ever do a final proofread like this within Vellum, within the program, the software I'm working on the draft in now. I would just miss too many things. So, and I'm sure I'm still missing things, because at this point in the process, just everything's blurring together, and I'm tired and I just want it to be done. And it's one of those things where, even if, like, this isn't an outsourcing question, because even if I outsourced it, I would still always do a final proofread. I'm telling you, even if you're someone who outsources copy editing, formatting, proofreading, you still need to be reading back through it and double checking their work. I have unfortunately read final drafts that I have purchased from authors who thought that their copy editor or proofreader had done their job, and it turned out a lot of stuff got missed, and then the author has had to re-upload a new file and issue kind of an apology, and it's not a good situation. So it's not just that, oh, this would be easier if I outsourced it. I would probably be missing little things even if I wasn't outsourcing, because I'm still just tired of working on this book. I'm tired of working on it in a good way. I'm still really enjoying it. I love this story. I cannot wait for you all to read it. I cannot wait until I can stop saying I can't wait for you all to read it. So yeah, it's going really well, and I do think I'll finish tomorrow. So that's exciting. Finish this part. The cover is a separate story that we will talk about tomorrow at the very end of this vlog. But yeah, I feel really good about how much I've managed to get done today. So I'm ready to put book work to the side, switch back to some other work that needs to be done, and then get on with a relaxing evening, because it's been a long day and I am tired. Okay, my 8th book, my 8th novel, my 8th book baby is now officially proofread. The book interior is now done, I think. I'm sure. I'm mostly sure. I'm not gonna generate the print version, the PDF of it yet, to get the final page number. I'm not going to do that yet. I don't need that until I'm ready to do the paperback cover. Although part of me feels like just to be safe, I'm going to do this. Just to be safe, I'm going to generate all the files I need so that I can email them to myself, so that I have them as a backup, just in case. But yeah, proofreading is done. Ah, I can't believe it. Like, I really can't believe it. So yeah, I've been looking through my checklist. I have finished all the developmental edits. I've done the copy editing. I've finalized all the book data. So the tagline, I don't have a tagline yet. I do still need, I just don't know if I want to keep doing taglines. I don't know how important they are. So I'll think about that. Tagline, book description. Book description I think is pretty much done, but I haven't crossed that off yet. But I've done the proofreading, and so now it's just final formatting and the cover design. So that is what's next, is doing the cover design. As you saw several vlogs ago now, before we started proofreading, I had been working on the cover. So the cover sketch is done, the rough illustration is done, all the hand illustrating is done, and everything has been put into, scanned and imported into Photoshop. So the cover is now in Photoshop, and it's up to the digital phase of cover design. It's literally now pretty much just the cover. There's some little minor formatting tweaks to the inside of the book some differences between the Kindle version and the paperback version, but those are super minor. And most of what's left for the interior of the book are things that will probably be done on upload day, other than when I go back through and just do one final visual proofread of the visual proof of the formatting. But I was keeping an eye out for that as I was going through. I was making notes in my iPad as I was proofreading for line and like line by line, word by word corrections and mistakes. I was also looking for any like formatting issues. It's exciting. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for, you know, keeping me company over these last few days while I've been working on the proofreading. I'm just so glad that it's done, and it just feels so good to have this step done. But anyway, I need to wrap up this vlog. I need to get back to work. I've been shuffling my schedule around to get some work on this done earlier in the day when my brain is still fresh, so I need to get back to work now. Leave me a check mark emoji or a pencil emoji for finishing proofreading, and in the comments let me know what is the funniest error you have ever caught in your own writing. Creative writing, business writing, personal writing, whatever. We all write stuff. We all hopefully proofread it. What's the funniest error you've ever caught? Help me feel better, because some of my mistakes are a doozy. In this project, the error that just bugged me the most, because Pro Writing Aid never caught it, and it happened 4 separate times in the manuscript, and I did not catch all of them until I was proofreading, and I had to do a search in Vellum just to make sure I had actually caught all of them. Laughter. I was missing out the T multiple times, and so in the book it was something like the laugher filled the room instead of laughter. I now question, like, laughter and laugh as a word, like, it's not spelled how it sounds, and I have some issues about that now. It's one of those words, like, the more you look at it, the more you start to doubt that you have spelled it correctly. So yeah, laugher. That was one that kept popping up. Laugher when I meant laughter. I'm now going to be paranoid. I'm never going to want to use that word in a book. So now when you are reading this book, anytime you see the word laughter, you will know I had issues. And if you catch, if for some reason, if somehow I missed one where it still says laugher, well, it's an Easter egg at this point. We'll just say it's an Easter egg and it was intentional. So yeah, that's my funniest proofreading mistake that I've caught in this manuscript. So let me know what's the funniest thing you've caught when proofreading something you've written. And yeah, I'm gonna get back to work now, and I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!